Hey, welcome back, everybody. Another Tuesday night chat with the Muskrat. Tonight we are going to be talking about fish, and more fish. If you like fish and you want to see more fish in your waters, then this is the show for you. So I've actually been in some forums this week, kind of digging into this topic a little bit and trying to see just how many other people are passionate about conservation and the ethical harvest, catch, and release fish. And more importantly, and it's not just catfish, obviously, lots of other species of fish, And but I'll kind of dig in a little bit of what we've came across and what we found, and I'll give you my 2 cents on it. And obviously, your 2 cents is always welcome. That's who makes up the show. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here talking to myself, which happens. I just don't always have the camera on. So real quick, we'll get started out by saying hello and thanks everybody for stopping in. We got Tommy Long, Mr. Minnow Dunkers. He was baiting the hook this morning on me, saying it's time to go get some crappie this weekend. And I don't think I got time this weekend to get out and get after any, but it's time. The crappie are coming in. My buddy caught a bunch of them this last week over at Paint Creek. And I won't give a spot away, but they're catching. Sappy's in the house. What's up, buddy? Nobody's catfishing. What's going on? Ed Jenkins in the house. Mike Greenwell says, nothing irks me more than seeing a big fish dumped over the side of the boat. Man, that's kind of how this started, man. We all know, probably without saying, there are some guys out there that catch fish, and regardless of size, they go for a heave over the side of the boat when they go back in the water. And I'm right there with you, Mikey. It irks me pretty bad. I don't know. I don't really know if it's. We'll get into it here in a little bit. We'll get into it here in a minute. Brutal Catfishing ladies in the house. What's going on? Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you. Nebraska Wildcats is in here as well. Catch fish with us. My local friends up here. Thank you guys for stopping in. I'm sure V's somewhere right behind you. What's going on? Paul Edmiston, another local. Chris and Telly, Hooks and Hammocks, welcome in. Thanks for stopping in. Kevin Walters, what's up, brother? Got to talk to Kevin, I think, yesterday on the phone. It's been a while. Mr. Creole Catfishing, what's going on, brother? It's just 1 week with you and 1 week without you. There's a big difference. But thanks for stopping in. What was I say? Crappie Day. Darren, is he up there? Yeah, there he is. I seen somebody yell hi to Darren. Thanks for stopping in. Let's get on down through here and see what we got going on. John Boy's in the house. Welcome. 205. How's it going? I seen 205 fishing one stand day this week. There's Tom, LG Bass. Tom, I got those bibs actually laying right here to try to get you some information on that. But we'll talk about that after a while. Mr. Bobcat, I seen his video pop up just a little bit ago about the Walmart rod and will it survive. I'll be sure to check that out. It was longer than your normal video, so I didn't have time to watch it before the show. I came in and was like, oh, that's a 45-minute video. But I'll be sure to check it out. Bugman22, I just want to sleep like bears and wake when it's warmer. All right, I got you. Bugman's ready to hibernate. Well, we still got a fishing trip to put together. I don't know if we're going to get it in by the end of this year now. It's getting chilly fast. We had snowflakes flying over here today, and it's cold. It is cold. I know a lot of the shows this week, I haven't been able to watch any of them, but a lot of the shows titled this week is about the cold. And so I won't step on toes there and talk about the cold much. But I will put a friendly reminder out there for those of you that are running boats that this is the time of year that you want to, if you're coming off the water, if you're still fishing, make sure you lower and drain your lower unit out on your motor. Make sure it's good and drained before you prop it up. They will freeze and they will bust. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And it is a very expensive price to pay for some frozen water. It's happened to me once before because I just don't stop fishing. But right now, all my motors on all of our boats are tilted down to make sure all the water is drained. Even if you haven't been out recently, that water can still collect in that lower unit and freeze and bust on you because frozen water does expand. So quick tip for you, make sure that you're draining the lower units. If you haven't been out for a while and there could still be water in there, just tilt them down, let them drain out. You don't want them to freeze and bust because of what part of the country you're in. It's getting pretty cold. Let's see. Who else we got in here? I got the rambling already. Oh, watch out. Boss is in the house. Jackie's in the other room. She's multitasking. She's playing with the kids and keeping an eye on me. Hey, War Pig's in the house. What's up, buddy? Thanks for stopping in. Let's see. Rowdy Royal's here as well. Thank you for stopping in. Miss V, there she is. I seen you earlier. I forgot to say hello, but you get hello twice now. Thank you. Thank you for stopping in. 922. Bobby's in the house. Crappy Barbecue. What's going on, buddy? Stonefly 71. Going to be back in the 50s next week. Oh, I better get my chores done because I am ready to go fishing. I'm having some slime withdrawal. We're scheduled to fish the Dragon Seek this weekend. I don't know. We won't probably be able to do it on the Ohio River. We had been up until this last week. I don't think we're going to be dragging the Ohio River this coming weekend. Hey, there's Quiet Man Curtis. Curtis, this show is dedicated to you, buddy. You brought this topic up on a Bugman show last week about handling a fish. And you said, man, somebody ought to put something together. And so I've been kind of tinkering around with it since you said it. And here we are, buddy. This show's for you. If you're cold, they're cold. Bring them inside. There you go, Bobcat. Bring them into the Crisco Disco. That's all right. That's what I'm hoping to do. Get some after some crappie here real soon. Don Knight's in the house. Welcome in, buddy. I don't think I'm anywhere near the bottom. Let me see if I can speed up just a little bit here. I'm talking slower than I'm scrolling. So I get two. There you go. Everyone, hey, I may have missed. Just popping in between. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's in there multitasking, as I said. Let's see. I think I about made it to the bottom. If I missed anybody, it was not intentional. But so we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, babe. Chris, come on, man. V is watching. Don't be talking like me like that. Olin, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for stopping in. Drain. Hey, yeah. Kevin, I was going to touch on that, but I'm going to go ahead and highlight it there because Kevin can tell you exactly what happens if your live well drain lines freeze and bust. So drain live well pumps and lines, also mine froze and busted, sunk my boat, almost killed me. And he is not exaggerating. He was in bad shape going into cold water when that happened. So it is a common problem. Typically, this happens at the beginning of the year. People will have had their boats out of the water for the season. The inlet tubes that go to your live well pumps have water laying in them. A lot of times it's the actuator. That's plastic. That's PVC. It will freeze and bust. And so when you put your boat in the water, that water comes right on into the boat. There's no way to stop it. There's no plug for that. There's no hope, there's no way to stop that. Now, a lot of boats, newer ones especially, have valves back there. You could shut that valve. You can, drain the water out, shut the valve, and prevent any water from going back into it next time you go out. Older boats, you really don't have that. So you really got to take a look at it and make sure that your plumbing is okay. I don't have any plumbed live wells on my boat. I have removable toolboxes, big toolboxes that I've plumbed and turned into live wells that I take in and out of the boat at will. And so I don't have that problem, but that is a huge problem that happens. And it could happen this time of year as well, freezing and busting. So make sure you are taking your time, your due diligence. There are a big series of winter checklists. I'll kind of wait and see what the other shows have talked about this week. I don't want to just repeat the topic or just keep beating a dead horse if it's been covered. But over the years, we put together a pretty good list of do's and don'ts as it comes to cold water fishing. And so I'll circle back around and check out these shows and see what, if anything else can be added. And we might throw one of those in here in the next week or two. Let's see. Chrissy's in the house. Welcome in, Chrissy. John, Small Water Charters. Thanks for stopping in. Let's see. Get back down here real quick. I seen a couple of folks pop in when I was talking here. I'll be honest, our release of that Hondo could have been a little better. He kind of went for a gentle head first slide. Fish is so green and heck fight. Hey, I don't know, Jeremy. I don't know that any of us can gently hold 100-pound fish over the side of the boat and release it with much grace. So anything that happened in that video obviously didn't stick out because I don't remember that. But yeah, a head first slide into the water actually is not a big deal. And I think what it comes down to, and I'll just go ahead and start getting into the meat and potatoes of this. Hey, there you, Chrissy Brown, member for 26 months. Holy cow! Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. That means a lot. Small channel, I do what I can do, and but every little bit helps. So thank you guys so much. Benoit Fishing's in the house. There we go. I know I've seen somebody else come in. Benoit Fishing. Thanks for you guys stopping in. Let me see. I think I'm caught up. All right. Chrissy says she'll be listening. All right. So here's kind of what I think about the releasing of the fish and whatever you want to call it. It's just not gentle, right? They're tossing the fish overboard, 10 pounds, 20, 30, 40, 50, 70 pounds. They're just chucking them. And yes, there's a part of me that believes that like that can harm the fish. There's their swim bladder. They're not used. You got to think about how physics works. In the water, you weigh a lot less. Right? Anybody remember picking up their mom and dad, uncle, cousin, brother, somebody in a pool that you could not even think about doing out on dry land? Because they're way lighter. All right. So when you catch this fish, it is the first time in its life, unless it's been caught before, that it's going to feel the full gravitational pull of being out of the water. And so when you release him and you just drop him into the water, that's a big shock. All right. That could be a big deal. First time a fish feels gravity is when he put him. There you go, Greenwell. He was typing as fast as I could say, I bet. But there you have it. Yeah. The first time they feel gravity like that is when we catch them. Right. And so you think about the difference that is. I think for me, the biggest problem is lack of respect. All right. For me, it's lack of respect for the fish. You just chuck it overboard like it's a banana peel. You're chucking out the window going down the road. It means nothing to you. No significance. And for me, that's the problem. For me, it's the lack of respect for the species, whether it's, a 5-pound, eater fish, or it's a 50-pound trophy catfish for most of us in the country. It's more about respect, because when it comes down to it, whether that really harms the fish catastrophically or not is yet to be proven. All right. I know that, people can go back and forth on that, but here's the challenge that I ran into when I started digging into this topic. The challenge that I ran into was not so much catfish species, but other species of fish and remote stocking. All right. So you think about what that means. Out west and even northwest areas, they have very remote lakes that get very little traffic to them for whatever reason. That's completely remote. They still stock those. And guess how they stock those? I'll show you how they stock those. I guess I've heard about this, but I never really paid attention to it. Yes. Flying fish. Fish just flying out the bottom of the boat. And you can tell here, the size of the fish is small. But fish rain, there you have it. But at the same time, these fish, one of the things that was being said was, hey, one of the things being said, hey, the fish are being dropped with water. No, because the fish, sorry, another video popped up, started playing. The fish aren't being dropped with the water. As you guys could tell, the water pretty much evaporates or turns into a fine mist and falls at a much slower rate than what the actual fish are falling. So then you think about it, like these fish are being thrown from the air, like, I don't know how many hundreds of feet that is, but several hundred feet up in the air. Don't get cocky and bank flip one, right? I must have missed something here. We're all guilty at some point. We don't think the little ones can be hurt, but they can. Yeah, Mike, you're 100% right, man. You're 100% right. I'm guilty too. Sometimes you get that little 3-4 pound channel cat and you get him off there and you just kind of chuck him over the side of the boat. Kind of like what I was talking about. Does that really is that really going to catastrophically hurt the fish? I don't know. There's no way to find that fish and track it unless we started, tagging fish and following them and releasing them abruptly and following the casualty rate and everything else. There's no real study that I know of. I could be completely wrong on this. This is just my opinion. I don't think there's any real study out there. Boom. Bobcat knows exactly what I'm talking about at the beginning of the show. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Now, there are some situations, I know people have excuses, but there are so many more ways that you can go about releasing those fish, even if you have a back condition or any other excuse in the book. There's still ways that you can lower a fish down in a net and let it go if you were concerned, but they're not generally not concerned with the fish. So I kind of got off track there. So that was the challenge I ran into as I started digging into this topic. Was people were saying, yeah, well, how can it be harmful if they're dropping fish by the thousands from the sky? That one video there went on to show that 350,000 fingerlings were stocked in that program during that episode, dropped over several different bodies of water, but 350,000. And that is Division of Wildlife for that area. And they give them a 95% success rate, 95% survival rate. So 95% of the fish that fall. But you still think about that. 95% of 350,000, that's still 5% of them passed. Okay. Well, depending on the way they structure this, these are farm raised fish, fingerlings, whatever. And that is the cost of stocking it, 95% making it into that reservoir as opposed to 0% due to travel, barriers or whatever. Then they're going to take that 95% success rate and for the sake of the 5% to pass. But for me, 5% of our trophy fish being harmed and possibly not making it, that's a big deal, especially down here in our area. A lot of local guys in here, Kevin's in here, 100% about respecting the resources God has given to us. 100%, man. 100%. And I think that's really what gets most of us. Because like I said, I think if we deep dive into exactly what can and can't harm the fish, I don't know. I'm not a biologist. I'm not going to sit up here and try to preach to you guys that there's a casualty rate that occurs because of this and that. But I can tell you that, as a viewer standpoint, right, as somebody in the sport of fishing or trophy fishing, if you want to call it that, our jobs is be ambassadors of the sport, right? To try to pass on good ethics, pass on good principles and put procedures to new people new people coming into the fishing community, whether it's a young one, whether it's somebody who's fishing all their life and never come into catfishing and now they're watching catfishing videos, or a guy's done it all of his life and never thought about the fact that, hey, yeah, I never really thought about, taking it easy on it. There you go. John right there. We baby or big bass. That's next month's paycheck. Absolutely. Absolutely. And for many other reasons, but yeah, you're 100% right. We want to make sure those resources are there next month, next year, the next decade, for these kids. I don't know about you, but I got two kids in here that I'm trying to raise into the outdoors to keep them out of trouble, keep them out of video games, keep them out of all that other stuff. And they're going to do all that stuff. I get it, but I'm trying to show them there's another world besides what they see on their tablets and on television is this wonderful world of the outdoors. And so when we are mishandling or treating fish in I guess I'd say a poor manner, of lack of respect, Freddy's wasteling is actually an awesome way to lower fish back into the water and have full control. We tried on the field. Yeah, 100%, man. Absolutely. Yeah, there's no real excuse, right? We both know that there's guys out there that will chuck the fish over their shoulder. We've actually seen somebody try to slam dunk one, a hook shot, and that pretty much shot him down for good. So at least in my eyes, and I know several other because I talked to y'all, we don't treat the fish that way, all right? Like Mikey said, have we probably tossed a channel cat farther than we should? or maybe even flip the bluegill, try to get it back down the bank without sliding clear down to the water. Yeah, at some point, your safety has to come in consideration too. I've seen other videos where guys are fishing on a really big rock bank and you can't get down to the water safely, and they'll do everything in their power to try to make it gentle on the fish. But yeah, sometimes they are, sometimes they are having to release the fish less ideal. I've seen videos that say it's acceptable to torpedo a catfish headfirst into the water, and not everyone has a large audience. Not everyone that has a large audience is a role model. Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are, how big or small. I have heard and seen the same thing, the torpedo effect, making them kind of dive right into a more aerodynamic, not smacking their bellies so much as a straight drop on there could possibly harm their swim bladders. Yeah, I would say if you got to release them, that torpedo, I've done it. I've grabbed go to release a fish and held his head, grabbed onto his tail and just kind of let him go, into the water gently, head first. And in my opinion, that's probably the most, the easiest way to release one, other than just simply laying it down in the water and letting it go. We all know that the big fish get handled that way. Most of us do anyway. We'll hang on to the fish on the side of the boat. We'll wait till them fully pull away from us. 9 times out of 10, I never just let go of a fish, a big fish anyway, that I've had to put a good struggle into. We will hang on to the fish on the side of the boat and let them pull away from us. When they're ready to pull away, then they're ready to go. Just something about holding that big fish until he yanks away from me and swims off. Yeah, Mikey, that's 100% right. That's the reward for me. Watching them swim away and pull away from me, knowing that they did it on their own accord, that's a win in my book. That feels good. When we're tossing back 5-pounders, 10-pounders and stuff, and they dart away, they're gone instantly. That's a successful release. That fish is gone. He's on to bigger and better things. What fish know and remember, debatable. Some people believe that fish have a memory and they can remember being caught. And I can only imagine what that conversation is like when they go back to school and they say, man, turns out God is this guy called Muskrat. And he just looked at me in the face and he said, it's just not your time. And he just let me go. God's a muskrat. No, so I don't know if fish have a memory. Through my learnings, talking to Tim Scott, he says that, fish don't have a yesterday or a tomorrow. They only have now. And so I could tell you that, how we treat the fish right now is all I'm worried about, as far as, whether or not. No, that's not true. That's not true. Because I'm worried about tomorrow. I'm worried about the future. I'm just talking about the fish don't know. Fish don't know what that's like. All they can feel is now. Like I said, when you take them out of the water, they feel that. They have that pressure. That's now. All right. So what are some of the ways that we can handle our fish and properly take care of the fish? Well, I can tell you one is the way that we use our equipment. So fighting the fish, handling the fish. Hang on, my daggone, I just lost this. I had a link open for you guys. I had a whole bunch of tools, and it just, I don't know what happened. My links just closed. I had a bunch of tools up here set up that we use and that I believe, I trust. I might be able to get one. Hang on. Real quick. Up until the last 5 years, they was lucky to get released. Now, if I can safely for fish myself, they go back same spot, caught as easily as I can. If not safe for fish, I will take to a safe spot. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with responsible harvest. There's lots of folks that want to eat fish, and there ain't absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'll eat fish. I don't eat a lot of catfish. I just enjoy the fight. But like when it comes to crappie, sac-a-lait, crappie, depending on where you're from, I'll eat the fire out of them things, man. If they're legal size to keep, they're coming home. I'm going to eat them. They blow up and release are two highlights of the blow up and then release are the two highlights of the catch. Absolutely, man. That's 100% right, man. that takedown, that blow up, you're bass fishing, but that blow up and the release are the parts that feel the best. Hang on just a second here. I think I might be able to get this pulled back up for y'all. Fish grips is kind of what I was going to, where I was going to go with that next one. Fish grips. We've got certain brands of fish grips that we use that we believe in that are good. They don't have to be Boca grips. They don't have to be $150 grips. A lot of your trusted grips are $15, $20. But when you buy some of the cheaper off brands, that was what I was going to try to show you. See, I even got Roger talking like me. There you go, buddy. We got the second. I didn't say slicker yet. Nets with rubberized coating definitely help take care of the fish's slime coat. Yeah, Kevin, absolutely. If they have no memory, how do they know to stage up next to feeding areas? They must know that the feeding area is there from remembering. The feeding areas are there because of the bait. The bait's there because of instinct. And the fish are there because of instinct. I think more have to do with instincts than memory. And I could be wrong on that. That could be just total smoke, Chris. So I don't know that to be 100% true. But I could tell you that other animals, anything with a brain, in my opinion, should be able to maintain some type of memory. I think fish and any other. I know that I've had aquarium raised fish that I taught, and they knew what to do. I had a African clown knife up to 22 inches long that knew that he could eat minnows out of my fingers, but if he hit my fingers, he wasn't getting the minnow, and became very gentle about the way he would get the minnows. And that same thing for my dad. It wasn't until after I got rid of that thing that I realized he actually had a razor sharp teeth in there that will probably hurt you pretty bad if he would have got a hold of me. If your instincts, you need a shower. That's right. That's right, buddy. I've caught more catfish in the last week than Buggy. 922 at Eric and Curtis combined. Woo! Woo! Man, you guys want to take that? I got to take it because I ain't caught any. I didn't go fishing this weekend. That's the private saying, hit the thumbs up. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. So fish grips is another great way to keep control of your fish. Gloves, have these guys want to be a hero and makes them tough if they bare hand these fish and get their knuckles all tore up and whatever. And if that's you, that's good for you. As long as you can handle that fish 100%, good for you. Me, he bites down, starts rolling on me. Those fish got teeth. All right. Most of it is covered by gums. But if you ever see a decaying fish, you'll see that their teeth are actually upwards of 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch long, depending on the size of the fish. They're just mostly covered by gum. So you only see on the very tip of that. But when they bite into you, that gum pushes back and you get some needles in your fingers. So I try not to try to wrestle the big ones as much as I can. Once they crush down on your hand, start ripping you up, let's face it, you got a tendency to let go or try to reposition. And now you're dropping fish that should never be dropped. All right. Dropping them in the water is one thing. Dropping them on the floor or the ground, that's another. And let's say, it happens. We're not perfect. Nobody in here is perfect. I'd say everybody in here has dropped a fish at some point or the other, including myself. I've done it before, and I'll probably do it again because we're human. But we want to minimize the effect we have on these fish to the best of our ability. Because if we truly respect these fish and care about the conservation and the longevity of these fish, then we will do our part each time we handle a fish to make sure that it goes back in the water as good as condition as it can. And caught them by accident. Yeah, I'm sure, John. Down there, I'd say this fish are, I'm going to assume you're probably running them catching them shallow because that's where a lot of your bait fish are going. And that's probably where your catfish are going. I'd say down south right now, I'd be running shallow. If I was fishing for catfish, I'd be running flats, especially with these cold temperatures in the daytime. The shallows will get warm, and that's my technique pretty much all through winter. If I get a couple good warm sunny days, or even if it's one good sunny day and towards the afternoon, I'm going to be in the shallows looking for those guys. I used to be tough, and now I'm a glove guy nowadays. Yeah, buddy, I got you. I got nothing but at least when it's 45 here, I do not have to dress like an Eskimo. Hey, Danny Stone's in the house. I had 2 Oscars in a 100-gallon tank. They didn't give a crap. They smack your hand every time you fed them. Yeah. Well, you know, doesn't matter what species it is, what size brain you got. There's still some that just aren't as intelligent as others. Fish grips are perfect for controlling the fish head while unhooking and handling the fish. As long as you're not hanging the fish by the grips, their jaw won't support that weight. Yeah, great addition there, Jeremy. You know, my general rule on the boat is anything over 20 pounds. And I don't know that that's even a great rule. It may need to be 10 pounds, honestly. But for me, 20 pounds, anything over 20 pounds, they're not getting on the grips. Now, I'll hold them. Like Jeremy said, I'll put a pair of grips in their mouth so I got something to hold on to and kind of hold them. But I'm still going to cradle their stomach and try to keep as much weight off of that jaw as completely possible. Because like Jeremy said, you know, that's a lot of pressure to put in just one particular point right there. I love when a tough guy makes fun of me for wearing gloves and they've never caught a big fish. Yeah, that's something to add to the arsenal right there, Jeremy. Mikey, is when somebody starts questioning you about gloves. Ask them to send you some PB pics. Let's see some fish you got your hand in their mouth, and how big are they? Let's see. Catch fish with us. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure. I want to make sure. Catfish Fevered Outdoors. What's going on? Thanks for stopping in, buddy. I won't use fish grips to weigh fish over 20 pounds. Can't imagine all that weight on their jaw. All that weight on their jaw is helpful. No. Everyone's tough till they get infection from fish. Now, I happen to know for a fact, you know, I know that Chris Souders has had multiple infections. And I think 1 or 2 was from the hand, but I know 1 was from the foot, and that was wearing sandals and a kayak, and fish come in the boat rowdy and stuck him in the foot. Some of you knows Chris knows about that. He actually had a bad spell with that, you know, had to have operations and have that stuff cleared up. But, you know, yeah, these fish carry bacteria and all kinds of crazy stuff that you don't want to be rubbing that stuff into your bloodstream. Now, they do say, now, I'm guessing this is right because I've seen it enough times to believe it's right. They say that the slime coat on a catfish is actually work as a, oh, daggone it. It's a bigger word than what I'm used to using, but it's not antibacterial properties, but along those lines that the slime coat on a catfish can actually cause healing because that is what it's made to do for the catfish. The slime on the catfish helps repair wounds. That's why during the spawn, when they are more likely to be banged up, fighting each other fish, you know, building and nesting homes for the females to come find them, they're going to get banged up and scratched up and tore up even more. That is why they're more slimy in the spawn season than they are the rest of the year, because that slime coat helps protect them and helps cure them when they do get scrapes and scratches. So I've been told that if you get that, you're supposed to go ahead and rub some catfish slime in it. Now, is that true? I don't know. I don't know, but there are supposed to be, you know, some type of antimicrobial bodies or something like that in the catfish slime. You guys are probably way ahead of me in chat right now. You probably already answered my question. I'm still trying to keep up. Somewhere here in Ohio is a 15-pound blue swimming around with a pair of nice grips from last summer. No, that's funny, but no, those guys go straight down and natural antiseptic, something like that. Yeah, you're on the right page. Antiseptic. I guess other people are saying the same word. So it's antiseptic. So maybe we could bottle that up. Maybe there's a market for catfish slime, antiseptic spray. Can you imagine people rubbing that on their kids? I know when I fell down and got boo-boo, my mom told me to rub dirt in it. Now we got catfish slime. I've got a scar on top of my left hand from one of those big ones this fall. I had gloves on, but they were too thin. Took the hide right off, even through the thin glove. Yeah, there you go, man. Friday had small blue, got wild and top fin in my palm. It was painful. And the belly slime helped. There you go. We're learning over here, guys. Something about a flathead's tooth pad tears my hand up worse than a blue. And yes, I've gotten infections in my hand from them. Yeah, that's going to happen. You know, I mean, that's, you know, we all try to, you know, we handle fish. For me, you know, I generally don't use grips on flatheads. You know, the big bottom jaw sticks out like a largemouth bass. It kind of works like a big handle for me. And so I generally don't use grips on flatheads. But yeah, they'll still tear you up and you still get infections. Greg Burgess, what's going on, buddy? I'm back. Had to take care of the wife. Still has neck brace. She has 2 weeks left from neck surgery. Man, Greg, hate to hear that. Glad that things are looking okay. And glad to see you in here on chat. Kevin Hendrickson, he says, I'm in Ohio. What part of Ohio, Kevin, are you in? I live in, I don't know what you call it, South Central. I live between I'm in Jeffersonville, which is between Washington Courthouse and Columbus, Ohio. But I fish pretty much all the lower half of Ohio. Grumpy Old Vet. Oh, wait, that's not Grumpy. That's Michael Grumpy Vet. We have another one. It's Grumpy Old Vet, which also brings up the point of having a good first aid kit handy at all times. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so absolutely. I've got a couple first aid kits on my boat. I actually keep them a lot more handy now that Jackie's on the boat because she seems to cut herself. She tells me not to stress out about it. The first time she did it real bad was at Sandusky Bay on I don't know what tournament we was in. She's back there cutting bait for us. We're getting things ready to rock and roll. I look back on the cutting board, and it's completely covered in blood. And I'm thinking, man, our bait is doing good. Daggone, that's some good bait. No, it's Jackie. She done sliced her hand open on a gill plate of a bluegill while she's trying to cut us some bait. And she real nonchalantly comes over and says, hey, where's the first aid kit? Because she doesn't want to cause a scene. She doesn't want anybody to know that she just whacked her hand wide open. Here, I thought she got a hold of the Bubba blade, which is a very sharp knife and stays sharp for a long time. And I thought for sure that would be what got her, but no. An infection stems from anything your own antibodies reject, even a scratch. A little redness or swelling is the start of an infection. Keep it clean. Hey, there you go. Benoit's, they know all about healthcare. It is nothing new to them. It's not slime. It's catfish jelly. Yum. There you go. You start putting it on a sandwich, we got problems. Dang, bullhead hurt me worse than anything. Yeah, bullhead they got like hypodermic fins on the sides of those guys. Hook Daddy Outdoor, Cincinnati. Hey man, you ain't too far away. You just write down. I'm right on 71 right now. I'm actually starting to try to learn the Cincinnati area because I've not lived here for long. I've lived right down in Portsmouth, right on the river. So I didn't fish much else than that stretch of the Ohio River for a good long while. I bet I've been in the Cincinnati area now 6 or 8 times total. So I'm looking to learn more of the Cincinnati. It's a quicker drive for me. It's about an hour. I'm guilty of not having a first aid kit. Well, if anybody's looking for good gift ideas for Mike Greenwell, there you go. He needs a first aid kit on that boat. I'm between Merida, Belpre, and Athens. I got you. Oh, somebody was listening. I thought she was tied up with the kids, but she's cut herself on the gill plate more than once. I've had 3 in car on the boat. Danny knows why. I have 3 in car, 4 on the boat. Danny knows why. Ooh. Well, I guess you can never have too many. Mike, I've learned the hard way. Plus, because of my job, it's always on my mind. Yeah. Those of you who don't know, Jeremy runs the safety operations. Make sure everybody stays safe and compliant. The compliant part is the boring part. I know because I used to have to do a lot of that stuff in logistics management. So I'm known all about safety and compliance and all that stuff. Don will be in Troy the Friday or Tuesday for work. Nice fish your brother got. Oh yeah, good video. That's what we had our last episode was these guys on there talking about their hundo. Keep a small bottle of Dawn Band-Aids. Sorry, it moved. Electrical tape, waterproof medical tape, wrap in some kind of antibacterial agent of some sort handy. There you go. So if you don't want to go out and buy just a standard run-of-the-mill first aid kit, put together the things that you got to have, things that you know you'll need. Chris, we keep 2 first aid kits and a huge bottle of Tylenol. My co-anglers give me headaches, buddy. I understand you. The Tylenol and ibuprofen is good to have on hand no matter what. It does make a big difference. If you got a pounding headache and you're out there trying to have a good time, I don't know about you, but I almost never get a headache while I'm fishing. Just never. I don't know. Bugman says super glue will stop the bleeding and close the wound off from dirt until you can get a place to clean and cover. There you go. I don't know, Bugman. You might want to have your whole series on first aid. Just something off the top of my head. Stands in the house. I always put a Mountain Dew in my kit. There you go. You got to be hydrated, okay, Stan. So that is part of the process is to maintain hydrated. But we kind of got off track here, but that's all right. We carry some nice outdoor first aid kits at Monster Cat Catfishing. There you go. Ooh, right there you go. Shameless plug over at Monster Cat Catfishing. I'm telling you, Kevin has really been putting in the work at becoming a one-stop shop for just about all your fishing needs. And, it's no secret that Kevin's a friend of mine, and, he's good to me. But seriously, go check his website out. His prices are hard to beat. And if you can beat them, I challenge you to message him and see if you can't match what you found, because I almost always now message Kevin before I buy something and say, hey, what can you do? And, but yeah, check out his website. Not trying to make an infomercial out of this, but it really does have a lot of good products over there, and the prices are very competitive, generally better than you'll find. So save yourself some money and support local business. There you go. People catfishing barefoot and sketchy to me, that fin might cause some damage. Yeah, 205, 100%, brother. We just mentioned that a minute ago. We know people that have got fins through the foot. I keep earplugs in the boat to prevent my partner from giving me a headache. She's not in here, so I can say that. Well, he's brave. So he's got confidence that Telly's not going to watch this show. I always respect the species and be safe. There you go, man. That's what probably would have been a better subtitle for the show, is just respecting the species and being safe. Throwing the fish. There we go. Jackie's got my back. She dropped the link there for Monster Cat Catfishing for all categories. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. There's tons of different ways to safely handle fish. Releasing them back into the water, taking care of the fish when you get the fish in the boat. That's only half the battle once you get it out. Bringing the fish in the boat, efficiently or effectively. Knowing how to check the fish if it needs burped. If they're on their stomach, having a burping stick or not having a burping stick, but know how to burp a fish without a burping stick. Me personally, I recommend a burping stick. Okay. And that ain't got to be nothing more fancy than a piece of PVC tubing that's been rounded on the ends. You don't want to jam it down their esophagus and cause damage. But if you take your time and take a little sanding paper to it and round the edges on a PVC tube, 12, 18-inch long tube, I recommend 18 inches. You slide that down in there nice and easy, and when it reaches the air pocket, it will release the air. That fish is now safe to swim off on his own accord and good to go. So, taking care of the fish starts from the moment you hook that fish. At a tournament, there was a guy showing his big fish, and it twisted and horned his forearm. Yeah, Michael, that's possible, man. They, now the bigger ones, and this is where a lot of people get confused. I don't even know how many people I talked to. Matter of fact, this last weekend, Jackie and I traveled up to Pennsylvania. A lot of you knew that. We went and visited her grandfather and her whole side of the family up there. Great folks, loved it, man. They were up on top of a mountain. It was super cool. I mean, we were way over in VA. We almost got to hook up and do some fishing. We was Dam River boys had reached out to us, and Jeff Beal had also reached out to us. We was on the verge of setting up a trip and fishing while we was out there, but she don't get much time to spend with these guys. And so we decided to go ahead and dedicate this trip to family time and doing the whole Thanksgiving thing. But, a lot of people was asking me a lot about fishing. They don't do a lot of catfishing, her side of the family and some of the other people that I ran into. And a lot of people's concern is about getting horned or getting stabbed by the fins. And what people just don't realize is as they get bigger, those completely wear down, and they're not very dangerous after like 10 pounds, in my opinion. Now, if you drop them, you drop a hammer on your toe, it's going to hurt. And it's not blunt at all, but when they're small, when they're very, very small, that's when they hurt the most. Vinyl tubing works well. My buddy that fishes Superior uses it soft enough not to hurt the fish, but stiff enough to do a good. Yeah, vinyl tubing is another great idea. Yep. Just something laying around. The biggest thing is just making sure that the end is not sharp. I mean, I know they're not sharpened, but just kind of take that edge off a little bit, make it a little bit easier on the fish. If you have a fishing channel, it's even more important for us to handle the fish properly. Stan, you're a little late to the show, but that is exactly what we talked about earlier about being ambassadors to the sport, man, about leading by example. And it's not always just so much about the conservation of the fish. It's a lot of it has to do with the respect and respecting what what God has put here for us to enjoy. And the fish are here. They're not here for us to catch and have fun. They're here to evolve and to be the circle of life. It just so happens we all enjoy catching them so much that we go out and catch them. But as content creators, and like Catch Fish with us said earlier, it doesn't matter if you're a big channel or a small channel. When people come into the sport and they start looking for channels to watch and things to pick up, it doesn't matter if you got 5 subscribers or 5 million subscribers. What they pick up from you is important. And if they're seeing you chuck fish over the side of the boat or hook shot them out and just completely, disrespecting the species and giving no thought or effort to the fish's conservation, well, unfortunately, that's a terrible way to reflect on the rest of us in the sport that do try to do our best to be ethical and to be responsible when it comes to harvesting, catch and release, catch, photo, release, CPRG, catch, photo, release gently. I don't know why I just thought that was cute. So that's why I made the thumbnail the way I did. Most asked a question from a non-fisherman. Don't the catfish sting you? Yeah, Mike. Yeah. And it just comes down to education, man. It doesn't matter if we're talking about catching fish and releasing the fish. If we're talking about, line, reels, rods, we're talking about pay lakes. We're talking about all these other, it's information. The more information that we put out, the more information that we share with folks, the better it is, because here's how I've always seen it. And this is why I've done my channel. And me and Jackie had this conversation earlier tonight about the future of this channel and where I started, what made me start my channel, and where I'm at now. And how do I feel now 4.5 years later? The whole point of this channel has always been to try to teach and share as much information as possible for the sake of bringing more people, young and old, into the sport that have more success catching fish after watching and listening and learning, hopefully, some of what they found here on the show. And by doing so, we create more people that care about catching catfish because they're having a great time catching catfish. We're making them successful catching more or bigger fish at catching catfish. And so that is how we protect the fish, is we create more people that love the species. More people that care about these fish is how we're going to save the species, okay? We can't go out and fight commercial fishermen one-on-one. It's not going to work, right? We can do all our parts. We can check the boxes. We can sign the papers, and we can go to legislation, and we can do all those things. But the more people that we get on our side that care about catching fish because they enjoy it, That's how we protect the species. That's how we protect fish. That's how we guarantee and hope to guarantee that there are fish for our grandkids to catch, our great grandkids to catch, and so on and so forth. That has always been the purpose of this show, is to get more people in love with catching fish. I don't know where that came from, but that's it in a nutshell. I always hear, are you keeping or releasing? I tell them release because I try to let the bigger ones go because they are breeders. Yeah. And Michael, that's exactly what we got to do. That's exactly how we continue. That's how we continue to protect the species, is information. People don't realize it's math. Big fish put off more eggs than small fish, and only a percentage of eggs laid will hatch, and only a percentage of the ones that are hatched will survive, and only the ones that survive, only a portion of those will go into maturity. So the bigger that number starts, the bigger that number ends. All right. So the bigger the fish are, the more eggs they lay. It's just math. If you can't understand anything else, most people can understand math. Not me. I'm not very good at math, but I get that part. Jeremy said, Danny, why are you bringing that up? A little out of the box topic, but if you ever shark fish, you can get focused on the toothy end and the tail swipe. You take off 2 layers of skin. Not fun. I have caught a shark. I have caught shark before at Myrtle Beach, and the dude cut my line. I was tickled to death. I got him in the basket to bring him up, and he came over and says, dude, you can't do that, because at the part of the pier I was fishing on, I was directly in front of people swimming. And there's like, you can't do that. It scares the tourists. I said, I am a tourist. And he's like, well, they don't want to know that there's a shark swimming in the exact same depth of water that they are swimming. So you're not allowed to bring the sharks up. So he cut my line. Not happy about it, but I get it. There you go. Benoit fishing. That's the phrase of the night right there. I absolutely love that. Conservation, the promise of tomorrow. There you go. There you go, Bugman, too. If you don't take care of the resources, it will not take care of you later in life. Yeah, see, we hit the nail on the head. We hit the nail on the head tonight. You guys are on it. Every big fish released is an investment into the future population. And you guys are getting deep tonight. I can dig it. DNR needs to regulate the size of these commercial fishermen can take. Well, Michael, I hate to tell you this, but there are regulations. They're not being enforced. For the most part, I'm going to say none of them being enforced. There are some out there that are cracking down. There are some reports and stuff of DNR in certain areas that are enforcing and following up on complaints and violators. However, there's more of them than there are wildlife officials. For instance, our biggest threat is Kentucky. All right, Ohio does not allow the commercial fishing. West Virginia does not allow commercial fishing, but Kentucky does. So Kentucky waters, those guys are allowed. Problem is, Kentucky only has one wildlife officer for the entire county. That includes every county touching the water. So let's think about this time of year. It is deer season. Where do you think a wildlife officer's focus is going to be right now? It's going to be in the woods. It's going to be checking deer, harvesting deer. It's going to be out patrolling at night for spotlighting. There's going to be a million other places for that DNR officer to be, except on the river looking for catfish. Just not going to make it very high on the list. Does that make it right? Absolutely not. Because let me tell you, if you think for 1 second that I could go out in the wild and catch a deer of any size and bring it to my own personal property and cage it up and now charge you to come hunt it, hell no, that ain't going to fly, man. That is not legal. In no way, shape, or form is that legal. But if it's a fish, it's okay. No problem. Don't worry about it. So, but you see what I'm saying? And it ain't just deer season. You know, you've got all the other, I'm a bigger deer hunter than anything else, but you've got tons of bird seasons, and birds are federal, right? So they're really going to be watching for the birds come, dove season, pheasant, quail, turkey. I mean, there's a million places these officers got to be that are not on the water. And guess who knows that? the commercial guys and anyone else who wants to cash in on the cash flow that turns about of commercial fishing and the harvest of trophy catfish. Everyone knows it. And so they're running wild. It's like the Wild West sometimes. But we can't give up. We can't just say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. You got to continue. Tell me about the guy who lives in Indiana, 6 hours from the Ohio River, has a Kentucky commercial license. It's crazy. Yep. Kentucky fishing license is $150. I can go get one tomorrow. Out of state, non-resident Kentucky fishing license, I believe, is $150. I know, because at some point I thought about getting a Kentucky fishing license, commercial license, and going down and harvesting skipjack, especially now. Tennessee and Alabama are banning the, I know Alabama, I don't know. I think Tennessee was already on board. You cannot travel with fish across state line. So guess where they're going to have to buy their fish? They're going to be murdering the Kentucky Dam, and Barkley Dam. I imagine it's going to get real bad. So I decided I didn't want to mess with it. But yeah, it's $150. So they can come from anywhere. It's about to get tough for Parker and I. Commercial fishermen are hammering our catfishing wintering holes. Parker got their net wrapped in his prop last weekend. That's a shame. I hate to hear that their net got ruined. And that's the other thing. As tempting as it is, we all see them, right? You can go right down. You can go right down to Ohio River and pull up and see jugs and hoop nets everywhere. And it's very, very tempting to just run through them, drag an anchor, pull them up, cut the fish out, do whatever. It is, trust me, it takes everything in me not to do it, but I'm not going to do it because it's illegal. And here I am going to put myself in trouble because, what somebody else is doing. The thing is, unless they've got overs in that net, they're actually not doing anything illegal. It's Kentucky that we have the problem with, that they're not passing the regulations that we need to keep them from doing it. They're actually not doing anything illegal until they overharvest or they take more fish than they're allowed for that size limit. But before that, they're not doing anything illegal. And until you pull their net up, you don't know what's in there. You don't know what's legal and not legal. So you touch their net, you run the risk of getting in trouble. Our DNR officers have their hands full chasing ducks and deer hunters all the time. They could care less about me. Yeah, there you go. And see, Jeremy knows it. Maybe Corps and engineers could enforce the regulation instead of screwing the river channels. Well, I don't know the entire infrastructure and how that works, but yeah, there's definitely a breakdown priority along the lines. Let's see. No way they price hunting over fishing and gun applications, but the safety aspect is a factor too. Yeah, you're right. Hunting is always going to take precedent over fishing. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. And that's fine. We can acknowledge that. But we still can't give up on the fight, and we still can't give up on the hope that we continue to preach, educate, and show people that, there's more ethical and funner ways to take care of business. If nothing else, we completely teach and show and grow how to catch fish in lakes, reservoirs, and rivers to keep them out of pay lakes, so they don't feel like the only way they can catch a big fish is go to a pay lake. All right. And then we also got to educate people about pay lakes, about the longevity of the fish. It is a death sentence as soon as they put a fish in a pay lake. Some fish might live a day. Some fish might live a week. Some fish might live 6 months. I don't know exactly. Some places will tell you that they live a year. Maybe. If the lake has everything that fish needs to survive as far as depth, cover, structure, and food, it could probably survive. All right. Problem is 90% of these pay lakes, they do not offer any of that. As a matter of fact, they're doing quite the opposite. They're dumping copper sulfate into the water to trigger to make a hot bite so that everyone fishing catches fish. Because guess what? If you go there a couple times and you ain't catch fish, you ain't coming back. So they want to make sure every time people show up, somebody's catching fish. And so if they got to burn up, and it's technically burning them up, they burn the gills up with that copper sulfate. If they burn up all their fish, they don't care. They got more coming tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. And if you don't believe me, get on social media and find out. And it's sickening. But how can we fight it? Education. Share that stuff out. You see that crap? Share it out. Share it on your page, and make people aware of what's going on, because ultimately that's the only thing we can do. Kevin, you're right. The fines are nothing compared to the potential profit for them. Oh, yeah. Yep. Kevin, you're right. I could go fishing, keep just about all the fish. That's it. Comes down to ethics, and most folks don't have any or too worried about that cash money. Yeah. And the thing is, there's people that, you're going to talk to, trust me. And Jackie will tell you, and people in my past will tell you, I have this conversation all the time, right? If I'm out catching bait, 90% of the time, if I'm scoring some bait, people think I'm going to a pay lake, right? They'll say, "You going to pay lake?" I say, "Nah, man, I don't do that." And boom, that opens up the door for conversation, and I start talking about pay lakes and how I feel about it. And people don't ask me anymore. I guess the word's out. But yeah, just education is the only real tool that we have that's going to help. Now you're going to talk to people. Trust me, I talked to several guys that you ain't going to change their mind. They don't give a shit what you say. Guy straight up told me, "I fish for money. I don't give a shit about fish. I'm there. I make money catching fish. I pay my bills catching fish." What are you going to tell that guy? You going to tell him nothing. He done made up his mind. So you move on. You don't argue with that guy. The gaming at pay lakes will keep that game going. It's ridiculous. Yeah, you're right. It's more gambling now than it used to be, but it's more gambling. These guys are throwing tons of money into the tournaments now to catch a fish, and it's more gambling than anything. Now, some of these guys, anytime there's money involved, people are going to cheat. Okay. They're going to find a way to cheat. They're going to try to bend, twist the rules. They're going to find a way to try to cheat, because these guys are putting big money into these tournaments. And in the end, it's just gambling. It's just they're gambling with fishing poles instead of poker chips. Mississippi River south of me in New Orleans and Venice has gotten a bunch of attention lately. How long before the pay lakers come down all the way down there? I'd say they're already thinking about it, buddy. I'd say they're already thinking about it. Uncle Lou's in the house. Welcome in, buddy. Educate. Yeah, 100%, man. That is the real tool. Just the reason for the topic tonight, it was brought up about people, mishandling fish, just chucking them over the side of the boat or throwing them, or hell, we seen a guy, a year or so ago, hook shotting fish. Now that shit's not cool, man. We can't allow people to see that kind of stuff and think this is how we treat our fish, because it's like dealing drugs, easy money. Well, you probably already know this, but a lot of the pay lakes, not a lot, but some pay lakes, is a cover up for drug operations going on behind closed doors. I know more than I should know, honestly. I've walked in and seen things I shouldn't see, and I know people who know people who know people that there's some bad things going on there. Creole tend to believe that they won't get a warm welcome in your area. Gators got to eat too, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. Yeah, if they don't come back, they don't come back. I don't know how the government doesn't look at them as the criminal organization they really are, no different than any other. Well, that's all taxable income, all right? So that pay lake is bringing in income. That's taxable income. They're making money off these guys. If you don't think that these guys, the commercial guys, and some of these lake owners aren't sliding some money under the table and getting some kickback, well, let's face it, you probably know it, okay, because I know it. That's a fact. Those fellows don't play well with others. Yeah, you get down there deep in the South, yeah, it's hard to tell what kind of voodoo they might have on you. You might not come back with a load of fish. But yeah, it's gotten bad here. I got to be honest, just today I was watching some YouTube videos, right? And actually one of the ones I was watching today was fishing, not catching, right? Coop and his dad out there catching fish. Man, I absolutely love watching it. This video this week was about them going out and teaching themselves how to drag, because we got Drag and Seek tournament coming up on Online Fishing League this weekend. And they were out teaching themselves how to drag. Ding 'em at the borders. So, daggone it. I just missed what the heck I was getting ready to say. Jeremy, good night, buddy. What is it? Man, it's after 9 o'clock. Holy moly. Man, I forgot what I was getting ready to say. I watched that whole video and I had something to say about it. Now I can't remember what it was. It was a good video. Him and Coop out there teaching themselves how to drag. Oh, I was jealous about their waterway, right? Because these guys, they were just learning how to drag, and they've been consistent and tough on the Online Fishing Tournament League because of the waters they fish and the way they fish. Not everybody goes out and catches big fish on Potomac River. Let's face it, they don't. You gotta halfway know what you're doing. Can you catch a lot of fish? Just about anybody can catch a lot of fish. We all know people that just go drive a new boat out in the middle of nowhere, drop anchor and throw rods in every direction and catch fish and don't have a freaking clue what they're doing, right? And it happens, all right? It is what it is. If I lived in an area like that, I'd probably do the same thing. Nah, I probably wouldn't. I'd still just hunt down the monsters. But, it all has to do with, what you got and available to you. And when you got lots and lots of fish available to you, things are different. Here, we ain't got a lot of fish available to us. Uncle Lou, nail on the head. We ain't got a lot of fish available to us. You really got to put in some effort and be pretty diligent about what you do to consistently catch fish here on the Ohio River. And I'm not saying that we don't have any fish. We do. A lot of you watched Stand Day this week. Zach went out, put on a clinic for about 20 minutes. But after that was it. The day before, he caught fish pretty much all day. I really, really thought he was really going to steal the show Sunday morning. He did already with whatever he caught, 6-7 fish, like at the same time. All rods went in, all rods came back with fish on them. That happens for us sometimes. But did you notice the size of the fish? Every fish was around 10 to 15 pounds, and that's about what we got. Now, we do get into some bigger fish from time to time. I'm not going to lie and tell you that there aren't any bigger fish here. There are, but they're just not as many as there used to be, and not as many as several other waterways. So we got to fight pretty hard to catch a decent fish. I'm East Tennessee, about an hour from Virginia and Kentucky state lines. Our local lakes and rivers have been hit hard by commercial fishing. Man, I hate to hear that. I know exactly what you're going through. I know that Ohio River isn't the only place that these guys steal fish from, and they've been doing it for years. Want to catch fish? Have Danny Stone say something. There you go. All right, Michael, tell me you weren't watching Stand Day without telling me you were watching Stand Day. Yeah. Zach caught a 10-pounder, and Danny Stone said, I got something for you when his rod went down. And he did. He had a nice 31-pound fish. Take nothing away from Danny. That was a great fish, great catch. And then the whooping commenced. every rod of Zach's went down. Why you got to bring up Zach beating the crap out of me? Salt in the wound, buddy. Salt in the wound. Well, get you some catfish slime. We learned tonight the catfish slime does have bacterial properties in it that will help with the wound. So get you some catfish slime, Danny, and get that in there and get healed up for us, would you? Oh, boy. Guys, I needed a night like tonight. I've had a lot of fun with you guys. Life's been crazy. We had a death in the family. I'm not trying to bring the show down, but it's been a tough couple of weeks, and I really needed a night tonight to come in and hang out with you guys, and very interactive chat tonight. This is what it's all about: is you guys, coming in, having a good time, speaking your mind. This is a place where you can speak freely, and just hanging out. All right, this is what it would be like. This is what it's like when you hang out in a boat. Maybe a little raunchier jokes from time to time. Language might get a little worse, but this is what it's like, and I needed it tonight pretty bad. So we've had some really good news in our family here of late, and we've had some pretty bad news in our family here of late. So I'll take it for what it is, and I'll be thankful and grateful for the blessings that I have. So with that, I'm going to wrap things up and call it a night. I think I just heard Mom take the kiddos up to bed, so I'm going to go tell them good night. But we will see you here next Tuesday night. Same cat time, same cat channel. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Bon Péché.